just encourage kids to be focused when they're learning and to not be on the cell phones.
Unplugging and hanging up while in school.
Tonight, the new push to ban cell phones and social media in TDSP classrooms. Good evening. We will have that story in just a moment. But first, we want to bring you breaking news from Toronto police who say they are investigating the death of a 3-year-old boy as a homicide.
Detectives say he was found deceased in a home near Dawes Road and Chapman Avenue on Sunday. It's alleged he was assaulted in a washroom a day earlier near Yonge and Bloor while in the care of someone who was not a relative. That person contacted police the next day. 22-year-old Chardonnay Cousins Emily has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. She appeared in a Toronto courtroom yesterday.
Also from Toronto Police, an update to a story we've been monitoring this week. Investigators have released more information about the suspects in the stabbing of an off-duty police officer earlier this week. 38-year-old Jeremy Rascuti of Toronto has now been arrested and faces multiple charges. 47-year-old Jim Kalazovsky has been identified and is wanted by police. On Wednesday, police alleged 3 men and 1 woman were robbing a Best Buy in the McCowan Road and Progress Avenue area. An off-duty police officer tried to intervene and was stabbed. The 2 other suspects, a man and a woman, have yet to be identified. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
We turn to the latest on a police-involved shooting in Newmarket.
A man is dead following an altercation at York Regional Police. CTV's John Musselman joins us live with the latest on this investigation. John.
Well, Michelle, we spoke to residents in the building behind us. They describe hearing a man and a woman fighting last night. A short time later, police arrived, and that's when they heard gunshots ring out. A 37-year-old man is dead after he was shot by York Regional Police inside the stairwell of this building on Crowder Boulevard last night around 10:30. Amanda Colpitts lives in the building. She says she heard 5 gunshots ring out. She heard a woman screaming in the hallway. She told her son to run and hide in the closet because she wasn't sure what was happening outside.
The woman was screaming.
What was she saying?
No, no. That's it. No, no. And she was yelling. She was huddled up in the hallway right outside my door by the stairwell.
This tenant says she called 911 when she heard a man and woman fighting. She saw the suspect run towards the police and then the shots rang out inside the building.
He came flying out of an elevator like 10 feet away from me, and he went straight into the stairwell, which is pretty well across from the elevator. Well, bang, 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 even before he went into the stairwell. So he was, once he knew there was cops on site, he went after them.
The province's Special Investigations Unit sent a team to the scene.
There were calls that were received from residents in the building about a domestic disturbance. So police responded and they came upon a man in a stairwell. There was an interaction between officers and the man was shot.
Investigators say the man who was shot did not live in the building. Residents say the woman has lived here for less than a year.
There was a relationship there, but I don't have any other further information. It was a domestic disturbance call, though, at the building.
Investigators spent the day canvassing neighbors for any information. They are also reviewing building security video to piece together what happened inside this building. And the woman involved in this incident was taken to hospital and treated for minor injuries. She has since been released. Reporting live in Newmarket, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, John. Also tonight, we take you underground for a peek at the progress of a long-delayed Eglington Crosstown LRT. The latest word from officials on the holdup and why there is still no opening date. The wait continues tonight for the much-anticipated opening of the Eglington Crosstown LRT.
It was supposed to be up and running 3 years ago, but despite Metrolinx offering an update today, there are still no clear answers as to when it will get on track. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the latest.
Deep underground at Yonge and Eglington, new gleaming light rail trains are gliding into a still-in-the-works station. Up above, a daily test of patience to navigate narrowed sidewalks, pylons, and new holes on the street.
Every day meant the smell, the scent, the song.
The drum of a project that never seems to end.
My friends don't want to get involved in this area at all.
They still don't have an answer. It's our tax dollars at work, right?
Taking reporters on a tour of the Crosstown's most complex station with the most loose ends to tie up.
Not going to be drawn into any guesses on dates.
But there's a hint, with officials revealing there's more work to do to get the tracks just right to ensure a smooth ride.
Phase 2 is a bit more fine-tuning, and then there will likely be a phase 3 when the weather improves next year at the at-grade section.
That means no snow on the ground, and that third phase would take about 3 months, pushing any potential opening well into the new year. The head of Metrolinx won't commit to having the line running in 2024.
I cannot see that it's sensible or responsible to declare an opening date now.
There have been problems with surprise concrete walls, water, signaling, so Phil Verster commits.
Once we get through the worst of the risks, defects, issues that we are seeing, finding and fixing, that we will declare a date.
Verster apologizes that the project is so far behind, not good enough for the local MPP.
A $1 million man who's surrounded by dozens of senior executives, if they can't get the job done, then I've got grave concerns.
So work is continuing, mostly out of sight on the Eglinton crosstown, but there is some very visible work still going on here at Yonge and Eglinton with construction. Officials now say this work will be cleared up in January. The people who pass through this area aren't convinced.
Sure, okay. I'll believe it when I see it.
Doubting she'll ever get to ride on the long-delayed line. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Meanwhile, several downtown stations won't have subway service this weekend. Crews will be carrying out track work on Line 1 between St. George and St. Andrew. Shuttle buses will not operate, but more streetcars will run on downtown routes until Line 1 fully reopens Monday.
And with a key stretch of Queen Street blocked for Ontario Line construction, the TTC is installing new tracks for the 501 streetcar on Adelaide Street. The next phase of work will see the intersection of Bay and Adelaide fully closed to traffic from Monday morning through to 7 a.m. Saturday.
Coming up, putting the homeless problem in the spin cycle. A laundromat owner witnesses a robbery, and instead of calling police, he calls on the community to give back.
Let's head outside for a live look on this foggy Friday. Mild temperatures today, and we are looking forward to a warm weekend ahead, but the trade-off is the potential for showers. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at the current conditions. Good evening, Lindsay.
Good evening, Michelle, and we've got lots to get to in the show tonight. So we're going to start right away with a look at your weather. It has been a mild day today. We started off our afternoon at around 7 degrees, and we still have a fog advisory in place for some eastern sections of the GTA, so just want to mention that. Temperature-wise, still quite comfortable at this hour. It is 6 degrees in Toronto, and we're not going to cool down all that much tonight. Winds are coming out of the southeast. Here's a look at the satellite and radars. Not everyone had as much sun as we were hoping for, unfortunately. Here's your evening skate forecast. It's looking pretty nice through this evening. And if you're not going skating, maybe you want to join us here at CF Sherway Gardens, where we are building a toy mountain. Andrea Bain has joined us from The Social. Thanks for being here.
Just thought I'd skate on in. Thank you so much for having me. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, everybody. So glad to be here. Toy Mountain is such a huge part of this time of the year. And of course, Christmas is all about the kids. So it's my honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part of it. And we have a donation tonight from IKEA Etobicoke. What have you brought tonight?
Hi, Lindsay. Thank you so much for having us. We have brought $2,500 worth of IKEA children's toys. At IKEA Canada, we believe that we need to make a positive impact on people and planet, and we are true local partners. So what you see right here, we have 6 more pallets at the store. So it's IKEA Etobicoke, IKEA Canada, we're here for you.
Thank you so much. Hold up those toys. I see what you did there, a positive impact. Michelle and Nathan, lots more to come, including some very special guests. But for now, I'll send it back to you.
That's wonderful. We look forward to it. Thank you, Lindsay. Well, he's Major League Baseball's top free agent.
Sports fans are buzzing in this city over speculation Shohei Otani is considering signing with the Blue Jays. CTV Sean Leathong joins us live with all the details.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, it's been a quiet day outside the Rogers Center. All the action has been online as fans have been hoping, speculating that Shohei Otani may announce that he would be a member of the Toronto Blue Jays today. But as of right now, he is not. For those of you who don't know, Shohei Otani is arguably the best player in Major League Baseball right now. He had 44 home runs, leading the American League last year. He's a 2-time American League MVP, 95 RBIs, a .304 average. He would really help the Toronto Blue Jays. And throughout the day, online, speculation had been building that maybe he would announce his choice. As rumors had it, it was between Toronto and Los Angeles for his choice. But as of right now, he is not a member of the Toronto Blue Jays, and he has not made a choice. Here's TSN's Matt Cause on how big this would be if he signs.
This would be the biggest moment for the Toronto Blue Jays since Joe Carter took Mitch Williams deep in the 9th inning of the 1993 World Series. Otani represents the biggest free agent, not just in baseball history, but I think in sports history. This is bigger than Peyton Manning or Kawhi Leonard, or even John Tavares. This beats all of them because of his age, his unique skill set, what he brings from a marketing standpoint. And then just from a basic X's and O's baseball perspective, what's the problem with the Blue Jays? They couldn't hit home runs. He led the American League in home runs. I feel like the playoffs would have been different with Shohei Otani in that lineup between Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero than what we got.
And much of the focus today had focused on a private jet that was flying from Southern California to Pearson Airport today. Many people speculating that he could be on that flight, but we have no indication that he was on that flight or is in the city. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Now to a story impacting students and educators in Toronto. Could cell phones soon be banned in classrooms?
It's something the Toronto District School Board wants to consider. CTV's Beth McDonnell has the details.
It's a topic that matters to these grade 12 students at Earl Hagen, North York. Should cell phones be banned in the classroom?
No, I say no. Because it's like your choice as to how, if you want to succeed or like do bad in school.
I think it would be a good change because I think a lot of students get distracted in class. It'll be easier for teachers to teach.
With like younger kids, like you should probably just not let them bring a phone to school at all.
You can't just ban it. That's not a solution. You need it to contact people.
Honestly, it runs the gamut.
From students using phones under their desk to texting, Toronto District School Board Chair Rachel Chernos-Lynn has heard plenty of stories about the misuse of phones during lesson time. She's one of 2 trustees asking the board to come up with a new personal mobile device and social media policy, which could include a possible ban. Chernos-Lynn says the current provincial code of conduct doesn't have enough teeth, that cell phone use has changed dramatically in the last 5 to 10 years, and this push for change is about ensuring students succeed.
These are the things that really impact kids, their well-being, their education, their possibilities, how they do in school, their future.
The TDSB says if a policy with a ban is created, it will be up to staff to put that policy into practice, essentially lay out how it will work, including what type of punishment students may face for pulling out their phones in class.
We are 17. Right. Like if we can't stop using our phones in class, like that's us choosing not to learn. So there's really no point in like enforcing punishment like that.
If you're fooling off, you're not getting good grades, you're flunking the class because of your cell phone, then definitely the punishment should be more severe.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the education minister says, "We welcome the TDSB's actions to build on the government's policy to ensure mobile devices are not used during instructional time, with exceptions built in for learning, medical purposes, or special education needs." Chernos-Lynn says there is a correlation between mental health and well-being and cell phone use. One reason the issue in schools is so important.
You still have the social media apps on your iPhone when you go home and everything, so you'll still be affected no matter what.
Sometimes that phone is a bit of a security blanket, and being without it could actually do more harm.
It may take many months for a new policy to be developed if trustees decide to move forward next month. Chernos-Lynn says there will be research and community consultation, and trustees will deliberate before restrictions come into place. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
To the latest in the ongoing battle against auto theft in the GTA.
Police in York Region made hundreds of arrests in an ongoing operation they hope will help curb the problem. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
Okay, guys, we have the 25th shift of Auto Guard tonight.
Operation Auto Guard was launched in September.
We'll divide it to the east and the west. 4 district will focus on the east of the 400.
7 weeks of officers focusing on data provided by crime analysts who created heat maps to identify areas with the highest density of at-risk vehicles.
90% of the vehicle thefts were happening along the region's southern corridor.
Enforcement officers were able to focus on very specific locations, eventually charging 56 people with 294 offenses. 80 vehicles valued at more than $5 million were also recovered.
By leveraging the data, we were able to predict when and where the thefts were going to happen. Almost every single arrest that we made where the thefts were happening in real time.
The project also featured an educational component. Police held more than 100 information sessions to educate the public. They also distributed more than 24,000 of these Faraday bags, which are used to prevent key fob signals from being duplicated. York Regional Police say auto thefts are skyrocketing in the region. In fact, they've increased more than 200% over the past 5 years. In 2022, close to 3,200 cars were stolen. And as of December 4th this year, they say close to 4,300 cars have been stolen.
Taking mere seconds to steal high-end vehicles from residential driveways. They work in teams to scout out the vehicles in advance, then return in the dead of night.
Police say organized crime groups operating across the country are stealing vehicles and then shipping them overseas, and the cost to Canadians, enormous.
Last year, the cost of auto theft in Canada was more than $1.2 billion. In Ontario alone, it was over $700 million.
In fact, some are saying auto theft has reached crisis levels in our country and that enforcement can only go so far. Janice Golding, CTV News.
2 Ontario men are facing terrorism charges as investigators accuse them of having ties to neo-Nazi groups. Canada listed far-right group Adam Waffen Division as a terror organization in 2021. The RCMP say they collected evidence showing the 2 suspects helped create manifestos and videos hoping to recruit more members. The accused have not been named. The investigation spanned 18 months and saw warrants executed in the Toronto and Niagara regions.
For more details on the charges laid and the RCMP's investigation, our online team has full coverage on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
Lawyers at an inquest into the death of a mentally ill man at an Ontario jail are proposing recommendations to fix what they say are chaotic and deadly conditions in custody.
We want to warn you, many of the details that have come to light are disturbing. As CTV's John Woodward reports, there are also calls to have Solan Fakhri's death ruled a homicide.
When Solan Fakhri was removed from a shower at Central East Correctional Centre by Sergeant Clark Moss, things seemed to go smoothly, according to this video released from an inquest into his death. But other guards did not seem to have Moss's rapport with Fakhri, and in this move between cells used force on him, not recognizing his behavior stemmed from an acute mental health crisis. Fakhri died in his new cell after guards deployed repeated strikes and pepper spray. A spit hood they put on his head was never removed. That was a breach of policy, one of more than 60 just that day in December 2016, after Fakhri had been left in his own filth for days. A sign that correctional staff are not trained in how to handle people with mental health issues, and with little oversight, were making it up as they went along, lawyer Alexandria Bonney told the inquest. This is more than just a few bad apples. This is a culture that people don't have to follow the rules.
The inquest heard that without mental health resources, guards felt they were simply warehousing people like Fakhri in segregation. And segregation reviews that were supposed to be done in person were routinely faked by overwhelmed staff.
An approach that hurts more than just Fakhri, the inquest heard. In 2014, 19 inmates died in Ontario prisons. By 2021, that had more than doubled to 46. No one was charged in Fakhri's death. Inquest lawyers asked the jury to conclude Fakhri's death was a homicide, meaning that it was caused by another person, though the guards union said it should be ruled accidental. Inquest counsel presented more than 50 joint recommendations to change what they called systemic problems, including a new independent prison watchdog called a correctional inspectorate, a new agency that can deliver health care in Ontario prisons, and have prisons create links with hospitals and other community mental health resources. Other groups also recommended the elimination of the spit hood entirely. Some recommendations have already been received by Ontario's government in other reports, Counsel Prabhu Rajan said. The current status quo cannot continue. This is not something that should take years. This should happen soon. The coroner's jury will decide whether to formally send these recommendations to the Ontario government to change a situation where an inmate with mental health issues lives or dies, depending on the guard that sees him that day. John Woodward, CTV News.
We head to Parliament Hill now, where MPs are continuing a marathon vote in the House of Commons this evening.
The Conservatives are filibustering a key spending package and forcing more than 100 votes to pressure the Liberals to ease the federal carbon tax.
We have successfully killed a day of government business. This is one less day that Justin Trudeau will have to implement his destructive agenda that is dividing Canadians and driving up prices, and of course his plan to quadruple the carbon tax. That's what this is all about. The carbon tax is really hurting Canadian families as we head into the Christmas season.
Conservative House Leader Andrew Scheer defended his party's votes against items like economic support for farmers and funds for the RCMP and border services, saying the Tories are voting against Justin Trudeau's economic agenda, but in a, quote, different way. The Liberals say they're wasting everyone's time.
This is not leadership. Mr. Poilievre continues to gaslight Canadians for clickbait. What he is doing is not going to accomplish any of his objectives. There are 3 parties in this House who believe that climate change is real. There is one that doesn't.
Have any intention on acting the carbon tax like the Conservatives want?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said this morning he's not going to make any changes to the federal carbon tax in response to the Conservative filibuster, which he called a stunt.
Another federal climate push, this time on capping oil and gas emissions, is facing opposition from Western provinces.
Ultimately, what they are putting at risk is our Canadian energy security by imposing this many regulations.
The plan, unveiled Thursday, would require Canada's oil and gas industry to cut more than a third of emissions by 2030. Saskatchewan and Alberta say their own climate efforts are underway, and Ottawa should butt out, setting up a likely confrontation.
In Alberta, the panel considering a provincial pension plan says half of the people it heard from don't like the idea.
Say that we heard from many Albertans who oppose the idea of exiting the Canada Pension Plan and moving to an Alberta plan.
A report from Alberta's government claimed it would receive half more of the funds in the Canada Pension Plan if it left. Critics say that's a severe overestimation. The province said it's waiting for the federal finance minister to come back with a number as it considers a referendum on the matter.
420,000 public workers in Quebec are back on strike today, and this time they will be off the job for a week.
We've got people who are going every week to get some food in some food bank. We never had that before.
Education, health, and social services across the province will be affected. In its latest proposal, the province offered a 12% raise over 5 years. Quebec Premier François Legault says he is open to offering more money if the unions are willing to be more flexible on issues like work schedules.
Turning to the latest now in the Middle East, UN officials are sounding the alarm over a worsening humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza.
As the death toll climbs, Israel says it's keeping up its military push against Hamas militants. CTV's Kevin Gallagher has more.
The Israeli military intensified bombings in southern Gaza, aiming to root out top Hamas commanders. The war flooding this hospital with injured civilians, including this young boy. His father says he was playing near a mosque with other children when it was hit. The United Nations estimates 1.9 million people in Gaza have been displaced, forced into makeshift refugee camps with limited access to clean water and food.
There is a high risk of the total collapse of the humanitarian support system in Gaza, which would have devastating consequences.
The UN Security Council voted on a motion for a humanitarian ceasefire, and the United States used its veto to defeat it. Still, top officials issued warnings.
Israel has an obligation to do everything possible to put a premium on protecting civilians and maximizing humanitarian assistance.
Rockets launched from Gaza triggered air sirens in Tel Aviv, most intercepted by the Iron Dome, as an Israeli war cabinet minister laid his son to rest, who died fighting Hamas with the IDF. We will press the offensive, he says, to bolster the country you loved. Overnight, families of hostages marked the start of Hanukkah, hoping more can be done to release the 137 still held by Hamas.
We understand that every day that they are there jeopardize their lives.
Nearly a week after the humanitarian pause lifted, the situation is growing worse for civilians in Gaza, prompting international calls for more aid to flow, though many countries are still divided on calling for a ceasefire. Kevin Gallagher, CTV News, Ottawa.
At least 2 people have been injured in an overnight Russian missile attack on the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. The local governor says at least 7 apartment blocks and more than 20 vehicles were damaged in the attack. Russian warplanes also fired 19 long-range missiles at targets this morning in the first large-scale missile strike on Ukraine in weeks. 1 person was killed, 8 others were injured in those incidents. Meanwhile, at an event today in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin officially announced he'll run for re-election in the country's elections next March. He's considered all but certain to win, especially as prominent opposition leaders remain jailed. Putin, who is 71, has twice used his power to amend Russia's constitution and theoretically stay in power until 2036.
Pope Francis appeared outdoors today for the first time since a 2-week bout of bronchitis. The Pope visited Rome's iconic Spanish Steps and prayed under a statue of the Virgin Mary. Earlier in the day, he read a speech urging prayers for peace without needing help from his aides. Pope Francis turns 87 on December 17th.
Prince Harry has lost the preliminary round of his libel case against the publisher of the Daily Mail. The Duke of Sussex sued over reports he tried to conceal his efforts to get publicly funded security. Harry lost that security benefit after he gave up his status as a working member of the royal family. Today, a judge ruled Harry failed to defeat Associated Newspaper's defense that its article reflected an honest opinion. The dispute with the Daily Mail is one of 4 lawsuits the prince is pending against British tabloids. Coming up on CTV News, a seasonal staple in the world of ballet, behind the scenes at one of the productions of the Nutcracker on now in the city. Meet the students bringing a classic story to life.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up, it's Feedback Friday. Viewers had lots to say about paying more for products and getting less, a roofing scam that cost a woman $80,000, and wire transfers that go wrong when the money doesn't show up. Feedback Friday is just ahead.
We are truly building a mountain of toys here at CF Sherway Gardens. I want to introduce you to Commissioner Lee Graves of the Salvation Army. Thanks for being here tonight. And we've had some very special guests already arrive. What do you think about this turnout tonight?
Well, it's wonderful, Lindsay. Thank you for having us as the Salvation Army and for the incredible community support. We're so grateful to Premier Ford, who has just been with us, along with his cabinet, and their generosity, and really that of the Ontario government that supports the Salvation Army every day. We're just ever so grateful to them. So thank you very, very much to Premier Ford.
How many children here in the GTA are we hoping to reach with Toy Mountain this year?
Well, all of these toys that are being placed, 60,000 children and their families. And it's just our privilege as an Army to help facilitate that kind of care right across our community here. And we have so many partners. We're just really grateful.
Well, donations like this one are going to help. Erica, you're joining us from Rexall Care. What have you brought for us tonight?
Well, I'm so proud, Lindsay, to present to Toy Mountain Canada $20,000 to Toy Mountain Canada on behalf of Rexall Care Network.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you to everyone who's joined us so far. We have a full look at your weather forecast coming up here on CTV News. And stay with us. We also have another full night of great shows for you coming up.
We had a lot of reaction to our recent consumer stories on a woman who was caught in a roofing scam and a money transfer gone wrong.
We also received comments related to our report on shrinkflation, when products get smaller but cost the same. Here's Pat Foran with Feedback Friday. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. Many shoppers are getting frustrated with their growing grocery bill, especially when they're paying more and getting less. From shampoo to paper towels to crackers, viewers sent in other examples of shrinkflation. Companies know consumers will notice a price increase before they realize a package has gotten smaller, which is why many would rather shrink their products than raise the price.
We're seeing products get smaller, but the price keeps going up.
Viewers noticed you'll get 100 grams less of After Eights, but the price remains the same. And Kraft Dinner comes in the same box at the same price, but with 25 grams less KD.
Today, I bought this box for the same price.
Proud tweeted this picture, bought Vinta crackers, bigger box, but 225 grams was reduced to 200. No excuse for increasing packaging waste. Judy Poirier said last month the contractor came to her door and told her her roof was in terrible shape. He said it had to be repaired immediately before her ceiling caved in.
It's urgent. It's got to be done immediately.
She was scammed out of $80,000. Edward wrote, "A man knocked on my door and attempted a roofing scam. He lied about working on my neighbor's roof. Thanks for the warning story." American Natalia Whiteley married a Canadian, and after living in Montreal for 5 years, they decided to move to Florida. They wanted to bring their 2023 Prius Prime with them, but Toyota Canada will no longer provide compliance letters, meaning the car is not allowed to be licensed in the U.S.
I didn't think it would be impossible.
Angela told us, "I'm on the opposite side, a Canadian living in Florida, and I want to return to Toronto with my car. Hope I don't have the same problem." Zev Berkovich has been dating his Cuban girlfriend for over 3 years and occasionally sends her money using wire transfers. But he was shocked when he sent her $2,500 and she never received it.
It did not arrive.
Devinder wrote, "I'm an international student and my parents transferred me $3,000. The money went to someone else and we can't get it back." And Toronto police are warning to watch out for snow removal scams. Some companies are demanding payment up front for the entire winter, and when it snows, they won't come back. Do your research before hiring a snow removal company. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, to the forecast and also to the toys.
Oh, the toys. Lindsay's at Shohei Gardens tonight, and already some huge donations, Lindsay.
This has been a pretty amazing night already, Michelle and Nathan. And you know, a lot can happen in commercial breaks and between live spots here during our newscast. Here's who showed up a little bit earlier. Premier Doug Ford made an appearance and decided to drop off a few toys and add them to the ever-growing mountain here at CF Shohei Gardens. We asked him why it was important for him to contribute to Toy Mountain this year.
So many needy kids out around Ontario and especially around Toronto and Etobicoke, Rexdale that aren't as fortunate as other kids. So this is going to make a very Merry Christmas for them when they wake up in the morning. And I want to just thank yourselves on CTV and everyone that contributed. The Salvation Army has a special spot in my heart and our family's heart, and they do incredible work.
And we have even more donations coming up this hour. We're looking forward to that. But you know, Nathan and Michelle, it's also going to be a very busy weekend for people going out to holiday parties, maybe doing some shopping of their own. So we know we have an important weather forecast to get to. We'll begin by letting you know that the weather is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train. A mild day today and a mild weekend ahead. We are still at 6 degrees here in the city of Toronto. It's 7 in Wyerton, 10 in Windsor. Look at the temperature difference, though, in Ottawa, -6 degrees at this hour. Tonight, we're not going to drop all that much. Forecast low is about 4 degrees. Compare that to the normal of -5. And yeah, that gives you an idea of how much warmer than normal we are right now. Tomorrow's high, 10 degrees. Average daytime high this time of year is 2, but it is going to be cloudy. We're keeping an eye on the record to beat for tomorrow, which is just shy of 14 degrees. Don't think we'll get there, but again, it still doesn't matter. It's a mild Saturday. Get out and enjoy if you can. Chance of showers during the day tomorrow, but a good portion of your afternoon is going to be dry. Same with Sunday, actually. Overnight Saturday into Sunday, that's when things are going to look a little bit different. And here's why. We have a low pressure system moving in, and this is the one that's going to bring us some rain. Before the weekend is finished, we might get into a little bit of lake effect snow as well. So forecast radar plays out like this. In the morning, couple of spotty showers, nothing too much to worry about. Into the night, this is when we could pick up anywhere from maybe 4 to 8 millimeters, of rain. Then we're going to watch the Niagara area, the Kingston area for perhaps some system snow. That disturbance for the most part is tracking stateside, so not going to have a big impact on us. However, as mentioned, 4 to 8 millimeters of rain is going to be a possibility. And then the flurries could kick in for us Sunday night and into the day on Monday. It's back to reality temperature-wise next week, but it's still not all that cool for this time of year. These are temperatures that we expect at this point in the month of December, with varying amounts of sun and cloud out in store and a few flurries as well. If you're just joining us, we are here at CF Sherway Gardens. This is my friend Beljot, and you're joining us from the York Punjabi Association?
Yes, we're here from the York Punjabi Association, and first and foremost, I want to thank everyone that's helped us out with this fundraiser, and I want to thank CTV for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm very happy to announce that York Punjabi Association has broken the record and raised $4,000 to donate. Woo! This has been a 10-year-long tradition, and we're happy to break records, and we look forward to doing even better next year.
We thank you for that. Why is it so important for you to be a part of something like this?
Honestly, being here is honestly an amazing initiative because we're here to represent our Punjabi community, as we want to showcase that we want to give back to our community and to the kids that really matter truly to us. So again, as Beljot mentioned, we raised over $4,000. So thank you so much for having us today, and it's greatly an honor. We look forward to being here next year again.
Thank you so much. We look forward to having you. Hold up those toys and show just how tall that mountain's becoming. Nathan and Michelle, it's a great night already. I'm going to send it back inside to you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
And first, though, we're going to take a quick break. CTV News. We'll be right back.
U.S. regulators have approved the world's first ever medicine using a new type of gene editing technology. The Food and Drug Administration gave the okay for 2 new therapies which treat sickle cell disease, a painful and life-threatening blood disorder. The drugs both work by genetically modifying a patient's own stem cells. One uses the gene editing tool CRISPR, which won its inventors a Nobel Prize in the year 2020.
The Public Health Agency of Canada says at least 5 people have now died in a salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupes. The agency says it's confirmed 129 infections to date, almost double the figure in last week's update. While there are no details on the deaths in Quebec, they have 91 confirmed cases. Ontario has 17, with others found in other provinces. Recalls were previously announced for the Malachita cantaloupes and Rudy brand cantaloupes sold on certain dates.
Some sad news from Hollywood. Oscar-nominated actor Ryan O'Neal has died at age 82.
What would you say if I told you I think I'm in love with you?
O'Neal starred in several iconic films in the 1970s, including Love Story, Paper Moon, and What's Up, Doc. In more recent years, O'Neal was in the headlines for his personal life, including his on and off relationship with fellow star Farrah Fawcett. O'Neal's son, Patrick, shared news of his death on Instagram. No cause was given, but O'Neal had previous cancer diagnoses.
There are several versions of the ballet classic The Nutcracker playing in Toronto this holiday season.
CTV's Pauline Chan spoke with students from the city's only not-for-profit dance school about their production.
Pia Bauman opened her dance school in 1979, initially as a for-profit school, but after a few years she realized her need to promote dance and arts appreciation was more important, and it became a not-for-profit school, the only such dance school in Toronto.
A dance school means that the school can raise funds, and with these funds we can support students who cannot afford to dance.
And some of those students will be performing in this weekend's version of The Nutcracker. 17-year-old Martina Sibelius will be playing the Snow Queen in some performances and the Nutcracker Prince in others.
There's not very many boys at our studio, actually. So it's always very interesting because I get to try so many different things that in other studios I normally wouldn't be able to.
And as she faces leaving the school at the end of the year, she credits dance with giving her confidence, friends, and so much more.
I want to make it a memorable last show, but I'm also feeling, all the emotions creeping up inside because I am graduating and I've been doing it for so long.
But there's a new generation of young dancers waiting in the wings.
I like being on stage and dancing. I also like ballet because it's fun and you're not hard on your feet. You're very delicate. When you go to a ballet, you see the professional dancers and it's just so beautiful. I feel nervous and then I get on stage and there's so many people watching me and I just love it.
The school has performed the Nutcracker every year since 1985 except for 1 year, the year COVID hit. This year, the show will run for 4 performances from Friday, December 8th to the 10th at Humberside Collegiate. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The Stars Tonight is brought to you by Lastman's Bad Boy, court-approved liquidation sale.
Updating our top stories, 22-year-old Chardonnay cousins Emily has been charged in connection with the death of a 3-year-old boy in East York. Detectives say he was found deceased in a home near Dawes Road and Chapman Avenue on Sunday. It's alleged he was assaulted a day earlier near Yonge and Bloor while in the care of someone who was not a relative.
There was an interaction between officers and the man was shot.
Ontario's police watchdog is investigating after a man was shot and killed while police were responding to a domestic disturbance call in Newmarket. The SIU is reviewing security footage to piece together what happened.
They still don't have an answer. It's our tax dollars at work, right?
And the wait continues for the highly anticipated opening of the Eglington Crosstown LRT. Metrolinx provided a process update today with the CEO apologizing for the repeated delays. Construction began over a decade ago and was supposed to open in 2020.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar is trading slightly lower at 73.6 cents U.S. Oil gained almost $2 a barrel, trading at $71 U.S. And the TSX added 53 points to end the week at 20,331.
In sports, the Raptors will try to avoid losing their third straight game tonight when they take on the Charlotte Hornets. Toronto's coming off a 112-103 loss to the Miami Heat on Wednesday. The Raptors have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Tonight's game gets underway at 7.
Back down to Tavares, throws it back, but Camp with an in tight chance. Forsberg hangs on, they score!
And the Maple Leafs were on the ice last night, facing off against the Ottawa Senators. The Leafs fell behind in the first, but were leading by the third. They went on to take the win 4-3. The Buds host the Nashville Predators tomorrow night.
Just ahead, a stolen sweater helps bring warmth to those in need. How a laundromat theft was spun into a community donation rack. That's coming up.
Tonight, the gripe over greens.
It belongs nowhere on a donaire.
People love the lettuce. The lettuce debate on National Donaire Day. That story and more later on CTV National News.
Hey Toronto, I'm Nicole Cervinas.
And I'm Teddy Wilson, and welcome to Things to Know TO.
Each week, we shine a spotlight on a wide variety of local businesses, services, events, and initiatives from across the GTA.
And if you or your company would like to be featured, you can contact our team by email at thingstoknowto@bellmedia.ca.
And don't forget, join us on Saturday mornings on CP24, CTV, and CTV2.
And hey, why not follow us on social at Things to Know TO.
A Beaches laundromat owner witnesses the theft of a sweater but doesn't call the police.
Instead, he calls on the community to donate coats to help people in need keep warm. CTV's Allison Hurst has the story.
Outside of Alex Winch's store door is a coat rack. Not for customers to hang theirs, but for donations for anyone who needs one to keep warm.
There's a little Band-Aid opportunity here to get somebody through that night.
The idea came to him when the reality of Toronto's homelessness crisis unfolded in his laundromat at the end of November. 2 sweaters were stolen from a customer's dryer. Winch confirmed that on his security cameras and by chance saw the woman passing his store later that night.
I asked her, why did you steal those sweaters from the dryer? And her answer was, because I'm effing freezing. And I said, well, what about the woman whose sweaters you've stolen? And she said, well, she's got a home, and I'm homeless.
That stuck with him.
What if I could put a coat of mine on a coat rack and just leave it for her? But there's a bigger need than that.
He shared the story and idea on social media and added the coat rack. Ever since, residents have been stopping by to drop some off. Jill Mensch brought one this afternoon.
I've put a pair of mittens and 2 pairs of socks in the pockets and some change, like probably about $5, so they can get themselves a coffee or something to eat.
Neighbors say they watch supply ebb and flow day to day.
They had to back it down a little bit because there were so many coats that didn't know what to do with them. But it seems to be working.
It's just beautiful to live in a world where people still care.
Winch says the biggest need is men's coats and hopes the idea cycles through other communities.
To me, such a simple little thing. The coat rack from Canadian Tire, the hat and mitten strap from Amazon, the sign from Vistaprint. I'm $200 in. Any little store can do that, right?
And address a need at any time. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
And let's stick with this theme of giving. Check in with Lindsay at Shohei Gardens. Lindsay.
Michelle and Nathan, I'm here with Liam Vu, who's with Cadillac Fairview Sherway Gardens. Thank you for your contributions to Toy Mountain. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, thank you for being here. We are so pleased to be here with you all and supporting Salvation Army, and such a great part of the community. And the world needs more Santas, right? So today we have a check of $10,000 donated to the Salvation Army today.
Thank you so much for that. That's absolutely beautiful donation. Thanks for having us here tonight. It looks gorgeous in here as well. Let's take one more quick look at your 7-day forecast heading into the weekend. And then next week, we're going to cool down a little bit, but still no major snow in the forecast. And a reminder about the new Lotto 649 with 2 big jackpots to be won on 1 ticket. Saturday's classic jackpot is $5 million, and the new gold ball jackpot is $50 million. You can head to olg.ca for more information. It's been a magical night building a toy mountain. Nathan and Michelle, have a great weekend. Back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. And that's it for us, but be sure to join Morella Fernandez tonight for CTV News at 11, national news, followed by Zoraida Alman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a great weekend.